Guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in this video I want to talk about some really fundamentally important concepts for anyone living with cancer or surviving from cancer, and that's to do with circadian alignment, circadian rhythm, and the impacts of circadian medicine and biology on the promotion or the suppression of cancer cell biology. And it's hard to overemphasize how fundamentally important this is, how compelling the evidence is, and how, if we're operating in circadian alignment, the profound health boosting, cancer suppressing mechanisms of that. Whereas if we're operating in a place of circadian misalignment, circadian dysfunction, how that's linked to faster rates of cancer growth, and in some cases poorer survival times. Okay, so in this video, we're going to explore that and then look at some simple tips that we can adopt to move ourselves into circadian alignment. So firstly, what is the circadian rhythm? What is circadian alignment? So, the circadian rhythm is our body's inbuilt 24-hour clock. And that 24-hour clock informs, regulates, controls the functionality of every single cell, tissue, organ in the body. Okay, and what governs that circadian rhythm is a part of the brain called the SCN. Okay, it's the brain's timekeeper. It's constantly tracking, monitoring the body clock to make sure it's aligned with the 24-hour cycle. Okay, and when the individual cells of our body are aligned with the clock in the brain, we enter into the hallowed state of circadian alignment. And that's where all of the cells of the body are working in harmony with the timekeeper in the brain, and everything works effortlessly. The impacts upon that relevant to health are profound. We know it impacts upon optimized immunity. We know it lowers inflammatory markers. We know it improves sleep. We know it increases energy. We know it affects our mood. Essentially, it puts us into the optimal place to experience radical health and to unleash the most powerful healing mechanisms the body has. Okay, so circadian alignment is where we want to be. But the 21st century world we live in actually makes that quite difficult. Okay, we live in a 24-hour culture. We're watching telly late into the evening. We're being overly exposed to blue light. We eat at different times. We can train at the gym at any time of the day. So many of us are in a state of circadian misalignment or circadian dysfunction, which is where the individual cells of the body aren't working in sync with the timekeeper in the brain. That causes cellular and genetic dysfunction that dysregulates the working of the body. And that can lower immunity, it can lower inflammation, it lowers our health and our healing capacity. And that's true of everyone. But in the context of cancer, this takes on an even more significant impact, and more of a profound impact. And the reason for that is that really quite advanced clinical research now shows that cancer cells also maintain circadian alignment. Cancer cells have within them the clock that tries to maintain circadian alignment. And in cancer cells that are circadian aligned, they progress much more slowly. They invade neighboring tissue less aggressively, and it's linked to better survival times than the same cancer cells that are in a place of circadian misalignment or dysfunction. And to put that into context, a couple of fascinating studies recently. One was in mice. Okay, one was in mice, one was in humans. The mice study looked at a large number of mice, all with the same cancer. And half of the mice, they maintain a constant state of jet lag by changing the daylight cycles, eating at different times, making sure they were in circadian misalignment all of the time. The other cohort were maintained in circadian alignment, so optimal function, by maintaining the right sleep-wake cycles and eating at the right time. The mice who were circadian misaligned had faster progression rates and died earlier than the mice who were in circadian alignment. And then the research went further and said, well, how does that relate and apply to humans? Human cancers, cancers in humans rather than mice or rats or petri dishes. And what that research showed was exactly the same thing. So they looked at a variety of cancer, particularly brain cancer, but the mechanisms are applicable to all other cancers. And what they looked at, right, they actually analyzed and determined the circadian function of the individual cancer cells in these people. And in the individuals who had cancer cells that were circadian misaligned, those individuals had much faster rates of growth and they died significantly quicker than individuals with the same cancer whose cells were circadian aligned. Okay, so same cancer. If those cancer cells were misaligned, they died sooner. If they were aligned, they survived longer with slower progression rates. Okay, so this is compelling because it shows that the circadian rhythm is directly impacting upon the way cancer cells are functioning. So we need to be harnessing this. We need to make sure that our body and any cancerous cells within it are operating from a place of alignment, okay, because that's going to transform our health, improve our immunity, and probably suppress cancer cell development. And there are 3 simple things we can do to facilitate that are powerful, quick, evidence-based. The first one is to wake up at the right time. Okay, because the 24-hour cycle is triggered every day in the morning by the SCN in the brain. Okay, and to do that, we need to be exposing our eyes to early morning light within the first 90 minutes of sunrise. Okay, so sunrise, if the sun rises at 6 in the morning, we need to have exposed our eyes to that light before 7:30. In the winter, the only way to do that is to use a sun lamp, but that's easy. They're easy to source. They're much cheaper now. So in spring, summer, early autumn, we can use natural light just by getting up a bit earlier. In winter, we need to use a sun lamp if you're in the northern latitudes. But that's the most important one because that is what triggers circadian alignment for the next 24 hours. Waking up at the right time. The next thing is eating at the right time. Okay, our digestive system, our digestive organs, our metabolic processes are in circadian alignment. We need to be eating at the right time. So that means eating breakfast between about 7 and 8 in the morning, lunch between about 12 and 2, and dinner between about 5 and 7, and ideally not eating after 7:30 in the evening. It's one of the fastest ways of inducing misalignment. And lastly, going to bed at the right time. We need to be asleep by about 10 p.m., 10:30 at the latest, because that's when our brain, our circadian clock, our hormones are optimally primed to induce deep sleep. If we do those 3 things, we're going to drastically increase our ability to stay in circadian alignment. That's going to affect virtually every health variable in the body, and the evidence suggests it's going to have a clinically significant impact upon cancer cell biology. So if you're living with cancer, or someone you know or someone you love is, please do share this video with them. And please do spread the message about the importance of this. As always, if you want to stay up to date with these videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll